Hello, everybody. Hey, let's see. Concurrent viewers. Hello. Sorry, my YouTube just decided to go black for all of a sudden and didn't let me know I was actually on on screen. Anyway, hi everybody. Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. I am hanging out and I am just collecting some footage for a video that I'm going to be doing where I paint up my 4 variations of power armor with basically just my favorite paint schemes from Fallout 76 is the core idea. So I just invite you to hang out, grab your minis and paints, and chill out with me. I would love that. Let me know if you can hear and see me okay. But other than that, I'm gonna get started. So we're kicking off this one here. I was like, man, how do I decide which one to give which color scheme to? And then it kind of hit me of like, well, whichever physical model loadout I like the most, I should probably make that my favorite paint scheme, right? That would make sense. So that is today's mission. We are rocking the Moth Man paints. Let's see, I got Go For It Painting and Whirl. I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. How y'all doing? I realize that I might be offending you just by saying it wrong. Okay, so I got my little pic of my dude in the other screen, and I would love to know if you are working on something. What you working on? You can Google it because I don't want to change the footage too much, so I don't have to edit things. But you can look up this scheme. It's just called the Moth Man paint for Fallout 76, and it's fun. Basically, the lower half is just black, and then the top half is sort of like a dark purple with some white accents, and I think it looks really slick. I'm being a little liberal with the black here just so I can fill in all the little cracks. These things have so much stinking detail on them. But I always try to do my messy layers first so I don't have to worry about painting over stuff that I've already tried. It's more important to not miss any nooks or crannies, especially when you prime them white, right? That's the worst, when you see a little white splotch on the inside of like a thigh or something and you know it shouldn't be there. Oh man, it's the worst. Want to say I'm a big fan? Hope to say hi at Adepticon? Oh yeah, absolutely, I'd love to. I'd love to see you there. Please just be sure to walk up and introduce yourself. A lot of folks will be like, hey Doug! And I'm like, you know me, but I don't know you, and I feel uncomfortable and awkward, but you're like, hey Doug, my name is blank. I would love to meet you. Let's see, he's got a little bit of black on the arms. Take a more detailed brush for that. Oh, I already messed it up. I thought it was white in the center, but it is black that goes down the center of the arms. It's okay, we'll come back up with the white paint and fix it. We'll fix it in post. Hey Doug, doing a second stream for the week? Yes, I am just doing a little bit. This is actually like recording content. I'm just doing a little bit of screen time because I wanted to have this kind of like B-roll footage of me painting the guys. when I do my video about the 4 different schemes I chose. Thought that would be kind of cool to have this in the background of just painting, so... Yep, that's the basic idea. God dang, no matter how much water I add to this paint, it just will not stop getting thick. Sweet. Oh crap. Autofocus is killing me. There we go. And okay, and the arms, inner arms and stuff. Okay, we'll throw this over here. James Kiltz, hello, hello. Let me pop my chat out so I can see it a little bit easier. That'd be nice. Hey, there we go. Okay, so we got that done. We'll move over to the purple, which makes up the majority of the torso and the shoulder pads and stuff like that, the big bits. But yes, just having a nice chill day. In other hobby news, I got my what is it called? Spearhead sets in, so I can start working on those for Adepticon. I'm very excited. If you're not, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically I run the kids event for Adepticon. I've talked about it a lot, but I'm going to continue to talk about it until the day of the event. But yeah, it's just a Youngbloods event. We try to get kids to play as much, or to engage as much with the fun aspects of event play as we can. And it's just been a heck of a time. It's been good. This year we're doing a narrative spearhead format. And so I have 5 sets of spearhead that came in. And last night when we were watching movies, my wife and I just sat there and sleeved up all 5 sets of spearhead. Took forever. Will you be doing a live stream later this week? I still need to grab some paints from the store, but unfortunately I'm not close enough. Later in the week, it's Sunday. Probably. I'll probably do something. I wanted to start regularly stream on Saturdays, and then I had an emergency last Saturday, and quite frankly, just didn't feel like it yesterday, so that's kind of the goal, anyway. That'd be awesome. I wish I had the opportunity as a kid. Oh yes, yes, we always have fun every year. This is my 3rd year doing it. It's the highlight for sure. Man, this guy is acting like I didn't hit him at all with any kind of primer. Will you have any shirts or the like for sale for the Adepticon thing? Nah. No, I keep it pretty simple. It's always on the Sunday of the event, so I'm pretty out of it. So, you know, it's the highlight of my year, but in practice I look like a parent who's hungover on Christmas morning and all the kids are having fun. So, no. I try to keep it simple. No t-shirts or whatever. I mean, I do sell some on the channel. You can see them in the descriptions of some videos and stuff like that. YouTube kind of controls that, but no, I don't do event-specific shirts. Plus, the kids would grow out of them in a month. However, I might next year. I don't know. So part of my fundraising thing for doing the Spearhead event was that I plan to basically use the kids as my guinea pigs this year, and then next year, since I have all the Spearhead stuff, when I go to create the event again, basically just signing up to be able to do it for adults throughout Adepticon week, like maybe 2 or 3 rounds of it, so that people who are participating in other things can still... It's 3 rounds of Spearhead, right? It's just a couple. It's not a very long time. So it sounds like it would be a great event to do, like, if you got a full schedule and you just want to squeeze in a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. I'm doing the doubles Friday and Saturday. It's exhausting. Saturday, Sunday, rather. Yeah. Yeah, all of the big AOS events that I would want to do bleed into Sundays, which is when I do the kids thing. And so unfortunately, I'm pretty limited on what I can participate in. It's as far as what I can be available for. And I refuse to sign up for an event knowing I'm not going to be there for this, you know, for part of it. That just seems crummy to somebody else's time. Dude, another live stream. Hey, hey. Okay, I need my Moth Man design to just kind of dry like that for a hot sec. Let's move on to the next one. We'll start doing... I'm going to cut all this footage up to make it into a tutorial, so What's next? I'm gonna do. Let's see. Vault Boy. Vault-Tec Power Armor, that's what I'm doing next. Why does the Fallout Wiki need to verify that I'm a human? I'm sorry, I'm having my own journey on my end over here. Okay, next one. For the Vault-Tec. Alright, so I already chose my favorite of the Moth Man. I'm gonna let the chat choose the next thing. Option 1, 2, 3. Looks like 2 and 3 have some kind of laser rifle. And option 1 has a heavy flamer. Which one should be the Vault-Tec paint scheme, which is predominantly blue with some yellow highlights? Let me grab the blue that I'm thinking of. We did this with the Vault Dweller in my last stream, so... This is probably the one I'll use the most whenever I play as Raiders. I actually do play as a Power Armor Raider boss with a shish kebab, which is exactly what this model is. But it looks great in the Raider armor. They have a guy named Slag with like the sword over his shoulders, and he looks absolutely sick. But I'm excited for this guy too. All right, you got it, buddy. I'm gonna call you WV because those are the capitalized letters in your name. Chose number 1. You got it. Just a stoop. And for him, really simply, I'm going to go all blue, and we'll come back and we'll tidy up with the yellow. Wow, this is just not sticking. What is up with this primer? It's just Wraithbone. It works all the time. Maybe I over thinned it, so the water is kind of peeling away. Ah, that's it, yeah. When I pull from the sides of my little paint pile that aren't thinned out, it works just fine, so. Gotta push a little hard, get into the nooks. If anyone has a topic, like I said, I'm just recording B-roll, so this isn't really an official show or anything, but if you have a topic you'd like to talk about, drop it in the chat. We can hang out and do whatever. I mainly just turn the camera on because it makes the day go by faster if you are doing something boring like B-roll collection. Especially on a Sunday. It's a nice day. That carrying case for the Flesh Eater Quartz was super cool. Oh, thank you. I actually just sold that, and I think the new owner seems quite happy. I don't know, we had a little bit of shipping trouble. The package got lost into the void for like a week, and I was just like, ah, crap. Am I gonna have to refund this guy $700? That'll crush my soul. Sweet. Okay, so we got our Vault-Tec blue down. Again, we'll have to wait for this to dry and probably apply just another coat to make it a little bit more uniform. But it took long enough that we can go back to our first guy, which is kind of how I like to paint. Unpopular opinion, Dark Angels are cool. I agree. I like the Dark Angels. I do not like Lionel Johnson. Is that fair? It seems weird to say in an era where, like, now that they have these, like, big hero models for every faction, it seems to like a faction but not their big hero guy. I mean, I know there's plenty of people who like Space Marines, but not Gilliman. But then again, Gilliman's a very specific, Space Marine. I don't know. A little bit in the back of the neck. There's so many little hidden nooks in these guys. Modifius, they're resin. There's a lot of intense detail. They're really great resin. But my goodness, there's just, like, under all the little pipes and stuff like that, there's a lot of, like, vent hooks and junk. Mm-hmm. Azrael is just amazing. The Angel of Death. I don't know. Is that the one who used to have a bike character? Was that him? Azrael? I don't recall. Tell you what, I'm going to turn the autofocus off because it is just being a beast today. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's good painting. At this point, I want this stuff to dry. I guess I can get the metal on his hands. I didn't realize all the power armor hands are, like, steel. I kind of thought they were painted too, but nope. Ah, crap, I mixed some blue in there. I will say I have not read any Horus Heresy books that make me enjoy the Dark Angels, but I like them. I certainly like them in 40k. That's not even a debate. Just in terms of, like, what the faction's about, their kind of, like, monastic look. Love all of that. That's, in my mind, indisputably cool. Peak Warhammer. All these crazy warrior monks and stuff. I love it. But when I read the Heresy books, I was actually getting into a conversation with someone on Blue Sky, where they were like, how come this feels like a young adult novel? And it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. I love some tabards and banners. Yeah, I want more Primarch models. Don't even care about 40k. Yeah. What is that? Big hats make them more important, like Gloomspite gets. Exactly. Has little oxygen tanks there. Nice. Okay, he's coming along. There's going to be a lot of edge highlights with the black and the purple, but that'll be just fine. Vault Boy is still drying, I can see. I still have some black. Let's do that. So this guy here, he's the only one of the power armor marks that I have with a symbol on the chest. This is from the starter set. It's like the Brotherhood of Steel guy. And I decided I just want to make him the Outcast scheme. You guys have played, well, I guess they've used the scheme in a few different things, but Fallout 3 Operation Anchorage, when you got to hang out with the Outcasts in their little bunker, was one of my favorites. And it's pretty easy too. It's literally just black with some red trim highlights. A little bit of silver. And weathering. That's kind of the big... That's why I like the Outcast scheme, and they brought it over to 76, which is what I have on my armor right now. I don't use power armor a ton, to be honest with you. I probably use it more in the Wasteland Warfare game than I do ever in actual Fallout games, but ever since they made the jump to power armor being a alternate type of clothing item, sort of, that requires a perk, to being what it is like in Fallout 4 and 76, where it's kind of more like a vehicle. You gotta pop into it. I don't know. It's kind of lost a little bit of that luster for me. I like the old school one. I also think they introduced it way too early in Fallout 4. But that's IMO, in my opinion. Old man corner. Back in my day, we had to earn power armor by downloading the Outcast DLC and going straight there so I could learn it in Operation Anchorage. There we go. Just picking away some of the excess. Nice, he's gonna look sweet with that. Those are really detailed little power armor suits. They are. They're the Medifia stuff is insanely powerful, detailed. And I love them for it. Most of the time, it's not really a problem. Like, it's kind of that same thing with a lot of Nurgle stuff, where like when you see the model online and the way that they're advertising it, the artists went way out of their way to paint a bunch of detail that you otherwise would probably not paint. So it can be as complicated as you want. And for our last one, we're doing the T51B version of the Nuka Cola scheme, which is the one that I find the most daunting. I think probably the easiest way to go about this is to just paint it red and then come back for the white. Yeah, at least that's kind of how I'm picturing it. I'm going to aim mostly for the, here we go, brick red. Obviously aim mostly for the parts where the red is, but I just think it's smarter that way. I think I'll have less headaches. Dr. Clonicus, what's up? Oh, Dominator, I'm sorry, I missed this. Doug, how do you view Tau. When you ask me how I view them, I guess I don't know what you mean. Like, do I like them as a faction? Would I play as them? Probably not. They don't really appeal to me as far as a gaming side of things. Actually, I want a little bit of a darker red than that. There we go. Yeah, now we're talking. I want it to be a little bit darker so that when I build it up, I have room to go brighter without turning into pink. Looks like the shoulders, helmet, and the torso are all pretty much red. Mm-hmm. Trying to pick the panels out as much as I can. And then for the legs, how do the legs look? Except for that center. As far as Tau goes, sorry, I was just kind of collecting my thoughts. I keep having to keep looking back and forth at this painting scheme guide because there are some very specific panels this guy's got painted and other ones that I'm like, I don't think you guys thought that one all the way through. Let's see. I like the idea of the Tau. Lore-wise, I do think that they are important because they fill a aesthetic niche that otherwise would not exist in 40k. I can't say I know a whole lot about their background when it comes to, like, I know that there's some drama with the Ethereal cast and how they are able to get most, but not all of the Tau on their same page. And if you are a fan of the Nuka scheme, yes, I'm making a few deviations. Because I think I might just come back. Might be easier just to come back with white and pick out some of these places. Playing against Tau is just oppressive. -5 AP. Oh, gross. Random question, but how would you recommend painting a Gargant with grayish blue skin tone? I think I might start with something like a really prime white, and then have like a really thinned out. What's the name of the color? Thunderhawk blue. And kind of build stuff up from there. I think that's how I would probably do it, at least. Okay, he's not too bad looking. I have to go back and pick out a few more things, but, you know, as far as just getting the red on there, it looks fine. Griff Charger Gray is a great way to do it, yeah, if you just want to get them done quickly. Certainly a fantastic way to go there. I did not know Tau were so oppressive in the game. I have my Dark Eldar, and I just have not... I painted that one test scheme model, and I like it. It's like I do a lot of like metallics, and then just a dash of like a very intense teal, like a jade almost, but somewhere between the two colors, jade and teal. But I don't know. Then my deal with the Diffius kind of worked out, where I have a coupon again, and I was like, now I want to paint that. It's like, heck yeah. Okay, I think all of my super colorful boys just need to chill, and now I'm back to the Moth Man that started us off. Let's build up. Well, let's give him a thin wash first. I like to have multiple of these little palettes going at once. Mainly so I don't put paint into a almost dry thing a wash and then tint the color by accident. I have a tendency to do that. And I am using the, I believe it's Army Painter Strong Tone. Oh, they call it War Paints now, which is just like, okay. Alright. I'll come back for details on the sword later. I'm gonna do a whole thing with flames and stuff like that, so... But the nice thing with the sword is it's like really far, like it's forward from his body, so it's gonna be pretty easy to get that kind of cleaned up and working. But yes, that dirties down our whites, gives us some shadow in the charcoal. This isn't actual black, it's charcoal. And then, same thing for purple. But we will be building that color back up here pretty soon. As for our Outcast Chaboy, he is almost ready for some highlights. Let me find my light gray. Where'd it go? Yeah. Oh, that'll do. also have units that can, quote, spot for other units that are shooting and then go on to shoot after spotting, sometimes called... Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, is that marker lights is what they used to have forever ago? And that's why I didn't play them back when I played quite a bit of 40K, which would have been, I guess, 6th or 7th edition, I think, at this point. So old school, before they started doing the every 3-year full reset thing that we're the hell that we find ourselves in. But my thing with the Tau was like, I couldn't connect to any of the characters to build a story off of personally. I was kind of struggling with that. And then when you stack on top, like, well, you're going to take these units. What do? Nothing. Except make everything else better. Okay, well, I want all my stuff to do cool things. Can I just bring cool things? No one who's there as a cheerleader? You could, but depends on how much fun you think losing is. Like, okay, so this is just the way the army operates. Got it. Cool. No doubt. Just wanted to know if you've ever heard of a skirmish game called Moonstone. I have heard of it, and I think the models are absolutely stunning. I have no idea who on earth I would ever play with if I actually got the set. But it looks beautiful. I mean, the game is beautiful. If you have not seen the artwork, go check out Moonstone. It's like these really fun... I almost think of them as like dark versions of Grimm's Fairy Tales kind of creatures. One go. Let's do 1 dash writer on this. I just dabbed the white from my other palette. I don't have any of the big guns, just 2 heavy venom cannons. Nice. Sweet. I don't know how well it shows on that camera, but from here, the highlights are going pretty well. I'm going to do a wash and then do a finer edge highlight. This was just to kind of help me, the painter, see where the actual edges were. I mean, it does show up towards the end here when I'm painting, but yeah, okay, let's see. Let me look that up real quick. Outcast Power Armor. Man, does anybody have large-scale pictures? I feel like all of the Fallout pics you see online are so stinking tiny. Okay. So for this, we're going to go back to my Beat to Hell Red. And very purposefully, rather than painting it with brush strokes, I am instead vigorously poking my model. This is stippling, and it is highly effective at making things look worn out. Unfortunately, the only art I could find for the Outcast Power Armor is for a different kind of power armor. Like, this is, I think, T60, I want to say. And all the pictures I could find were T51. but that's all right. I've also been watching all the Alien, Predator, and Alien versus Predator movies on repeat. Very nice. My wife and I, we just watched Too Fast, Too Furious, and had an absolute blast with it. It's been so long since I saw that movie. Oh my god. I didn't realize it has one of the most rare things in cinema. So, in the highly cerebral plot line of Too Fast, Too Furious, you might have noticed the performer Ludacris is in there. You're like, oh wow, that's Luda, hell yeah! But then, later on in the show, he's got this like weird one-sided stripe going up his back here. Later on in the movie, someone is playing a Ludacris song on their car stereo, which means not only is there Ludacris playing a character, but also somewhere in this universe, the Fast and Furious universe, is the actual Ludacris continuing on with his personal life, creating albums that people then race to. What we're looking at here, people, is a double Luda event, and I was not prepared when I realized that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever! How come we're not talking about this more?" We had a movie with a Ludacris, and then another Ludacris on top of it. I don't know why we didn't stop making cinema there. That movie's a fever dream. Oh yeah, I remember when it came out and everyone was like, "Oh man, I gotta get some nitrous for my car." Oh yeah. And then like people were realizing, "Oh man, I thought this would be more badass." Turns out it's just expensive and damages my vehicle. Oh yeah. You mean 'cause you're cool? I love it. So this is the nice dark red I'm using for kind of outlining where I want the red to go, and then I'm going to come back with my bright red and do like specific highlights on that to make the red here pop a little bit more. But yeah. Honestly, this guy's like 90% done at this point. Which I'm here for. I'm here for easy. I think the T60 is the most mass-produced power armor set before the bombs fell. Is it? I have no idea. I assumed the T54 was, but that might just be because it's an older one. Like, I made that assumption because it's an older one. Afternoon, hope you're having a chill Sunday. I certainly am. Just painting up some Outcasts. Having a good time with it. He looks pretty cool. And there's our Nuka Cola boy here. He's going to require the most work because there's the most technical detail with the Nuka Cola scheme, and I'm starting to be a man filled with regrets. If that's all right, we're going to push through. Let's see, how's our Moth Man looking? Still drying. That's okay. Hey, hey. Tom, go ahead and ask anything you'd like. We're just hanging out today. No real, official desire to do anything as far as content goes, so please fire away. What's the power armor the Brotherhood of Steel wear then? It depends on the game, because they've changed quite a bit. I mean, if you look at the old Fallout, things like Fallout 1 and 2, it definitely looks like they're wearing the T-51 because of the weirdly sloped helmet. Also, like, I know very little about Fallout. Like, in terms of like the raw details and stuff like that, I'm not the lore master over there, so 1000% could just be me making that up. There's a reason I love Terminators. Power armor, you say? Exactly. I mean, that's my whole plan with Horus Heresy. I have 2 big distraction blobs, and then an armored fist of Terminators that are like, her, her. So in the AOS setting, we have several gods. How well known are their power limits to their factions? I've always looked at the gods of AOS akin to the Greek pantheon, rather than all-powerful. That is my understanding as well. They are certainly not all-powerful. They are certainly not omnipresent. Meaning they can't be everywhere at once. What else can we say for certain about their power levels? Things that we know for certain: they can be broken, they can be shattered, they can be put back together, they can be kind of in a stasis. I guess I would kind of consider what Kane's doing right now with the elves a bit of a stasis, kind of being locked that way. What else? Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of, I will say, in terms of things that have always kind of been a weak point of AOS lore, defining the deities and what makes a deity and where that power gap actually is, has always, from day one, I think, been a rather weak point of the GW writing. Not because they're bad at it, but because there's just there's just not a lot of stories that involve it, and so we don't get like visual, I guess, visual context of like, here's how powerful this person is in relation to somebody else. We don't have a lot of stories of the gods interacting with each other. I mean, like verbally they do, but not like fisticuffs. Would you say that Sigmar is the most powerful of the material gods? I think he's up there. I would not necessarily say that he is necessarily the strongest. I mean, he wrestled Gorkamorka. He got the warrior god Grimnir to work with him, not bend the knee, but work with him. He's certainly the best when it comes to getting everybody on a team. Right? If I had to elect, in terms of like leadership skills, yes, he is the most leadery of all the deities. Mainly because the rest of them sometimes are gigantic turds like the elves, who, also try to lead, but their leadership really just kind of revolves around their people. I would say that Sigmar has done more for the general population of the AOS setting than any other deity. I think that's probably fair, I think. What does everybody else think? I mean, I talk about this stuff a lot, but I can't possibly remember it all. So if somebody's remembering a specific story where they're like, oh my god, Sigmar, he's the strongest of us, please just let me know. For being pretty unsure about him, he's turning out pretty dang well. I definitely have some little details to make up with, but the hard part is going to be writing Nuka Cola on the shoulders. That is the thing I'm not looking forward to terribly much. But other than that, he's coming along. I hold out hope for the old world gods to come back. This is true. They keep bringing them back every once in a while when it's convenient. Clearest cutscene I saw was one of the Gotrek books when he meets Alariel. She has more influence over the world, but wasn't all powerful. Yep. He was already traveling the lands and beating down god beasts. And that's true, he was, but he also had a buddy. Like, several of the other deities needed Sigmar's help to be free, but Sigmar himself would have been dead in the void if not for a Dracothian. And so it's like, how do you account for getting a hand from a buddy, right? Like, here we go. We got some nice Xerxes purple. Because that's, his strength is unifying groups, right? Unifying the elves, dwarves, humans, turning them into a civilization. But part of the benefits of that bonus, I guess you could say, are the fact that he then makes friends that are very powerful friends. I might need to throw that Xerxes purple out here soon. It's getting a little clumpy. Do we know how long that was for? No. No one has any idea. That's just where the story starts. Just like, at some point, he was cast adrift. They've gotten better with the Age of Myth stuff, I would say. But it's still, in terms of trying to tell a linear story of AOS, probably still one of the weaker points, in my opinion. Once it gets going, the setting of the Age of Myth is really, really cool. It's more just like those initial, how did Sigmar get here? Where was Dracothian in the old world? Like, all these kinds of just nitpicky questions. And I don't mean them to be nitpicky, like I'm actuallying the writers or anything. It's more just, these are logical questions that come from what they said. Reminds me of that scene from Broken Realms when Marathi ascended and talked to the spirits of Assyrian. And how we'll never go back to the story for like 10 years. Oh, yeah. Hangs out with all her old world friends, high fives them before eating everybody's soul, kind of a thing. Well, that's not really what happened with him necessarily, but yes. Nice. Okay. It's going to take a few layers of that purple. It always does. Let's move on to the next fun one now. Boom. Pro Acryl Yellow Ochre. I'm just going to say this. If you ever want to paint yellow, get this paint and nothing else. Screw all others. Avalorn Sunset is the GW equivalent of this. It's sort of like a good base color of yellow. You can put that down before a brighter yellow so it builds up much stronger. This is much more heavily pigmented than the GW stuff, and it makes a fantastic way of getting that initial yellow on without killing yourself with 1,000 little layers. Oh no, Thomas, not bothersome. Go ahead. Rapid fire. Worst I can do is either miss it or say I don't know. Okay, looks like... Let's see. Oh, okay. I found the Vault-Tec paint scheme on the correct thing of armor, and there's actually really not that much yellow on it. It really is just kind of around the arms. Yeah, a little bit on the chest. Painting yellow is awful. Worse than white. Oh man. Not with Broa Krill. And where else? It's like the... It's kind of awkward, but it makes up the... it's like a yellow kind of bar going across his visor. That's the actual official scheme. Honestly, it's just that. It's just his arms and a little bit of a Vault-Tec symbol on there. But I'm going to add a little bit more yellow because, one, I've got it on my palette. Two, I think it looks good. The other armors have more, or I should say varying amounts of yellow. And why is the Great Ma not his own god in AOS? Oh, like why is it kind of perceived as an extension of Gorka Morka? I will be honest, when it comes to destruction deity stuff, that has me scratching my head. Because sometimes it seems like they're all in on this idea of Gorka Morka, that he's the biggest, bestest god, but he's not on the table because there's no way to represent him. And then there's other times where they attribute so much stuff to him that it gets really dumb that there's no model. And I have no way of... I don't know. That just doesn't get me excited, right? There's no way to interact with this idea. That seems cool, but... yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well, they really all just do have pretty boring blue shoulder pads and everything. I'm looking at all the different variants on my computer. And I'm like, huh, okay. Well, there is a lot of silver, so it'll break up a little bit, but and then weathering and stuff. It just kind of took me off guard a little bit there. Now the first layer is down. We'll switch back to our Moth Man. You guys can't even imagine how excited I am to put this guy on the table. Have him in a battle report, something. Destruction is GW's other. Interesting. Do you feel like the 4th edition tagline is just bait? What's the tag? Oh, Sigmar lied. Is that what you mean? I mean, it's all bait, right? That's what a sales line is. But at the same time, if you're asking, do I think it has any way of relevance to like what's going on in the story? Not really. It doesn't seem to anyway. And I don't know why. Knocking stuff over. I'll do the same dry brushing for the black sections and panels just like I did with my Outcast armor. I'm still going to do the edge highlights. I just wanted something that'll build it up a smidge, you know? Just a smidge. And there. If I was to write the lore for AOS, I'd give destruction with 4 gods. Bad for Moon Gits, Gorka Morka for Orc. Oh, Bad Moon for the Gits, Gorka Morka for the Orcs, Great Maw for the Ogres, and 1 for the Giants. I'm trying to think. Let me think about what I would do. I'm not opposed to the way it is now. If you're gonna do that, make Gorka Morka a much more active force. And I don't even mean like on the tabletop. I don't need or necessarily want a model. I want an active voice in the story, you know? And I think, to me, that's what named characters offer, is an active voice. This character is pushing the plot along in XYZ. And I just feel like they kind of made it seem like Kragnos was going to be that, and then where is that punk? I did the old lady thing, and I wrote in a complaint. I was like, Games Workshop, you guys have got to get it together when it comes to my boy Kragnos. And I say my boy meaning I've never played it or painted Kragnos. But, like, you're doing him dirty, and I don't even like him. My suggestion to them, rather than having him die off... Not, he doesn't die, but go off camera with the 2 dragons or whatever... What if the thing was, hey, listen, he got him to trap him this time. We fed him through a realm gate, and then that's when the Hour of Ruin happened, and now he's kind of stuck. And he teleports around realm gate to realm gate just like, what's his name? Vordry does with his castle. Like, if you don't want to do anything with him, that's fine, but, like, at least give him a narrative reason to be places. That's kind of my thing of like, no one complains when Vordry doesn't move the events of the story forward, because no one expects anything out of him. But when you say this guy is the god of earthquakes and spits fire from his eyes and lightning from his arse and all this kinds of stuff, it's like, okay, well, he needs to be able to do cool stuff. At least make him relevant. I'd love for him to be a character like that, where, you know, kind of like Skarbrand. Skarbrand is a character that always exists, but only when it matters. Just do that. go ahead. I'm just gonna throw. There's a. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's some little flame bits coming out of the base of the shish kebab. Just adding a little bit of white to them so we can start doing the color build. Oh, I didn't realize I actually had the Pro Acryl version of purple, which is way the heck lighter. Let's do that. There we go. I want that nice color pop. There we go. The Moth Man scheme is a lot of things. Weirdly enough, when it comes to power armor, it's not dark. It's just very fun, bright purple. Oh, hold on, I fell behind the chat here. Kragnos could have been so cool. Agreed. Let's see. Jordan Fletcher, I want to see aspects of Gorkamorka start showing up as models, like Gorkamorka got so bored and ripped himself apart. I would be down with that. I love the idea of like the steps of Gork or whatever, the endless spell. Like, yes, that, I mean, that's a physical representation of him, right? Give me more of that. Okay, let me go back here. And for the last little bit, it looks like the rivets on some parts of his armor are dotted in white. Well, but I can't tell. No, that's on the T60, where it has all the rivets. I might add just a few here and there, but basically I'm just going to take my white and just just do a million little dots. You get a detail brush. Super detailed. Let's see. The setting itself hampers a lot of story progress. It's hard to have any meaningful progress if every faction has to be able to fight each other all the time. Well, you know, my thought there is that we don't need, like, the entire factions to fight. We can just say, like, hey, here's a story where this clan of, you know, rats goes attacks Kragnos, for example. And I like the idea of, for example, like Gunnar Bran hates the Skaven more than anybody else. I think what we just need is more reasons for these guys to go out and punch one another. Sorry, give me 1 second. I know I'm really being real quiet. I just got to get these little micro dots done. A little clean. There we go. I'm actually mostly satisfied with him, to be honest with you. Have you ever looked up how many Stormcasts there are? A few people have done some solid looking, blah, blah, blah. No. We're not given very reliable information about, like, heck, even what a standard force is, right? I mean, it used to be, like, standard, for example, for Space Marines to have 1,000 dudes, and now they kind of walked that back and made it a bit more amorphous. But no, I don't really have. To me, I don't see fun in trying to map out how many of a thing there is. Like, I don't look for lore to go that deep and specific, because for me, I want it to always be open enough for people to be able to add whatever they want, and that supersedes any interest for lore from me. Alright, this guy's coming along. I like him quite a bit. I'm gonna wait for stuff to dry. I need to do the flames on the sword, and then red, a really high, bright red for the eyes in that one. He has like a little lens display on his helmet, so I'll grab that. Next, let's grab our Outcast, since he is just about done. Core rules state that each host is a nation unto itself. Yes, we get that sense. It's also been difficult to keep up with how they expand. So, for example, like in the time since AOS started, we've seen them go from absolutely nothing in the realms and having to bring every single thing that they want from Azir to now they have full cities. And there's everything in between, right? We didn't have outposts for a long time. Now we got outposts out the nose. There's tons of stuff for Chaos to come and destroy. It's the Hour of Ruin. That wouldn't be fun if there was nothing to blow up, right? So now we have hamlets. God help you if you live in a Warhammer hamlet. This is a laser rifle. I'm actually going to go back over on that main top part with a olive green to make it look like the army style, and then the yellow tip. But I wanted the silver on there to kind of, so I could dab it and or like stipple it on, and then it'll kind of look rusted and faded. But let me grab my other silver. That's the one I'm using for the fancy bits. You probably like New Vegas the best out of the newer Fallouts, right? I think New Vegas is just a very different game. If I had to pick my favorite, most nostalgic is Fallout 3. That was my first real engagement with a modern role-playing game. Like I played Morrowind before that, but Morrowind is just such a different beast. I know they run on the same engine, but like in terms of how you're expected to learn and navigate and that kind of stuff, I don't know. I did love New Vegas. I think my favorite, if I'm totally honest with you, please don't come for me, I cannot stop playing Fallout 76. I am enjoying the ever-loving hell out of myself. I know that's not necessarily a popular opinion. The game has changed a lot since it came out. But beneath the nerd gamer drama and the very real and reasonable technical problems when it launched, I find there to be an exceptionally compelling story there about automation and how it destroys this particular section of the world and the pre-war history that happens there. I've just always really enjoyed it. As far as playing, I probably played more 76 than the others. I don't know if New Vegas is my favorite simply because I just kind of wanted a little bit more from my bright red here. We're going to clean up these edges on his armor. Powerful details. What console do you play on? Xbox. And I did re-download New Vegas. It's super stinking fun, I will say. But in terms of like full games, probably 3. I was raised on the Northeast Coast and seeing stuff like the Museum of... Well, just the museums. That whole museum section is just awesome. The going up to... Is it Delaware for Point Pleasant, or Point Lookout rather? Oh my gosh, so stinking fun. Oh yeah, and that one also I think had Mothership Zeta. Although I don't know if I'm bringing DLCs into it. Old World Blues might actually be my favorite DLC of any game ever created. That actually just made this very difficult bringing in... It was a mistake of Doug to bring in DLCs to this discussion. But I will say, in terms of personal nostalgia, 3 wins for me. Part of me feels like New Vegas wins in terms of game design. But like I said, I think they are different games. Just like I think 76 is a different game. Like I don't compare the Fallout Vaults game that I play on my phone with any of the others, right? Even though they're both newer and licensed by Bethesda. Because it's different. Excuse me, sorry. Nice. Looks nice and chalked up. And on one of these, I still had yellow. Yes, if you are ever playing on Xbox and you see 2+ Tough jumping around the Fallout 76 wasteland, that is in fact me. My favorite way to play just about any Fallout game, any of the more recent ones. Like I watched playthroughs of the old school, like 1 and 2, and they're real cool. It's just never been my style of game, the isometric view type thing. I played what's the Warhammer one? Not Inquisitor, Rogue Trader. There we go. Just because I liked the theme, but it's pretty hard to get me to play those kinds of games just because I just get tired of the view restrictions after a while. So, but I did watch, there's a YouTube channel, Oxhorn, where he does playthroughs and stuff like that. And I've been a big fan of his channel for a long time. '76 is great, one of the few, but I really loved how empty and apocalyptic everything felt at the beginning. You really did feel like you were the first vault dweller leaving. Yes, absolutely. I love having the daily and weekly quests. Just kind of gives me a fun, even if you have all the stuff that you could ever want to build any of the things, you have these little dailies and weeklies of like, hey, go find 3 teddy bears. And you have to like, crap, where the hell do I find? And so it's just rewarding you for playing the game, but maybe a bit more attentively. And I love that. Just go scavenge. But yes, I really enjoyed the heck out of that game. Once I hit, what's the name of the town? Dang it, I'm gonna embarrass myself. It's where Sal's grinder is in the ash heap. And the name just completely escapes me. There's a town where before the bombs went down and the world ended, this group of like worker strikers got together and barricaded the entire town together into one kind of like fortified thing to like take on the police. And so when the bombs dropped, they were right in the middle of that. So you're kind of like walking around this pre-war war zone between strikebreaker bots and workers and stuff like that. Oh, it's so cool. I did thoroughly enjoy that. But yeah, you mean you start to see the themes of automation becoming really, really cool. You can engage in corporate espionage and steal a new type of They created a new. There's all different kinds of power armor in 76 that doesn't exist in the other games, and so thematically, one of them is this mining armor. So you can go around, and mining is a big theme. I mean, it's West Virginia. It's just a theme of their lives in general. But within the context of the game, mining is a big thing. Tons of people out of work, worker strikes happening, people getting replaced by machines. You probably haven't played this. Have you ever seen or played Mad Max? No, I've seen some pictures of it being played, but I never actually had a chance to play it myself. Is it good? I don't see myself going out to get a PlayStation anytime soon again, but I would love to know. Nice. Okay, I got that nice olive green on the gun. Our Outcast boy is coming along. He's looking pretty dang good, I gotta say. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna put one more wash on the gun in his hands because I forgot to paint those earlier. But honestly, he's like 90% done. Like, aside from the bases, I'm gonna do all the bases at the same time. But he's looking good. My Moth Man is just about done. We can start working on his flames. It is a decent. I almost read Decadent game, and I was like, oh. Combat is very close to Batman. Okay, I enjoyed those. I also like the idea of being able to build your base anywhere. I've had so many cool little camps all over the map. Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Soulblight releases? Oh, beautiful. It's not the army that I expected them to just dump a whole lot of love on, but I'm not mad about it. Mad Max is available on Xbox. Oh, cool. Hold on, my cats are trying to break and enter into my room. Okay, got these guys. Let me bust my wash back out. You can also harpoon. Ah, okay. Gaming nowadays is more about Game Pass for me, not a lot that comes out that looks worth the price tags. Dude. Yeah. The first game, or the most recent game that I have pre-ordered in a very long time, is Space Marine 2. And I was like, people pay this much for games? Like often? Ugh. But I did, because I'm a sucker, and I wanted to play it. And I don't, no regrets, but yeah, I was definitely like, oh my god, this is expensive as all hell. Yes, I explained the Game Pass deal with my wife, and she's like, "That sounds perfect. Like it was made for you." I'm like, "Yep, yep." Because normally, I don't buy new games. I usually catch companies when they're doing the apology tour after they, released a game that was so buggy it didn't function. And then, like I did that for. I plan to do it rather for what is it, Cyberpunk. Nice. He looks nice and grimy. It's a nice thing about painting post-apocalyptic models. Just make them grimy. Whatever it is, make them grimier. We can always add a little highlight to make the color distinguish again. Popping into paint while today looks like popping into paint while today looks to be a little stuff. Oh, hey, good. Yes, absolutely. Been putting a little time into Far Cry New Dawn. Forgot how much I hate psychic enemies. As soon as one knows you're there, they all. Yep. Man, Far Cry. I went into way too deep of a hole with Far Cry. Straight up. I had so much stinking fun with that game. Let's work on their bases. So for that, I need gray. That's exactly why I wait for Game Pass. I've had exceptions. Space Marine 2, certain games on deep sale. Otherwise, yep. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Before Space Marine 2, what was the last game? I didn't pre-order 76, but I was there like really close after it launched. Like I was in that first group. But after all the debacles they had with the pre-order stuff, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna stay over here and have my popcorn. Watch all these angry nerds who spent more money than God to get a canvas backpack. That's on them. That's between them and the Lord God Todd Howard. It's gonna be over here. Is the new Fable. Oh, I haven't heard that there's a new Fable coming. Really? Man, that first Fable, that was so good. I had a buddy playing at the same time. He's like, well, it's stupid because we know what's going to happen. It's like, dude, the thing is called Fable. Fables are, like, by definition, we all know what's going to happen in the frickin' Fable. What are you talking about? That is not a critique of the game. Oh no, it wasn't that he knew what was going to happen. That's what it was. It was critique because it was too child story-like. That's what it was. That's when I was like, it's Fable. Who ever heard of a steamy adult Fable? No. My wife isn't into been Final Fantasy 16 and a bunch of visual novels. Sweet. I'm trying to think. I got really soured on the Final Fantasy series when I was a kid, and I just never went back. And it was because I played Final Fantasy. I keep saying Fallout. Final Fantasy 7, I think. And it was back on the OG PlayStation, and when it asked you to change discs for whatever reason, it would never take my character onto the next disc. So I had put like so many hours into this thing and then just could not finish. And I was like, that's it. I'm done for life. I'm out. I remember doing a presentation on the Fallout 76 bag scandal. Oh, yeah. Fashion was never so fraught with anger. It was a good time to be a gamer, though. Just to watch, you know. Not to have an opinion, just to take it in. I'm going to do like a gray to start off the pavement. And then I have a dark ivory for more of the sidewalk kind of color. Obviously it's going to be dirtied up or whatever, but... That happened to me with Final Fantasy 9 except with the 4th disc, yep. Oh, I was legitimately upset. I was like had to put down the PlayStation remote for a while. I'd be like, this is giving me unkind thoughts. I need to reassess my life. Perhaps go touch some grass outside or something. Bro must have hated Kingdom Hearts. I only played the first one. I enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like about Kingdom Hearts, at least the first one, I didn't feel, at least for my age at the time, that they did enough to explain the spaceship building parts. I kind of struggled with that. But otherwise, I thought it was a fantastic game. Years later, I went back and finished the game on an emulator. Oh, see, I would be even more dubious of an emulator. Like, are you gonna crash on me? I swear to God. I swear to God. If you disappoint me like everybody else. Ah, yes, his famous terrain feature of corrugated metal next to your feet. Especially now that they're on Steam. Ah, very cool. I did not know that they were on Steam. I just realized he has a landmine on next to his foot. Modern emulators are way more reliable than the OG PlayStation. You got me there. There's not a lot. There's not much that's less reliable. I'm just kind of shoddily picking out some of the more flat open parts of our Nuka Cola scheme. Start building color back up a little bit. The only thing less reliable, PlayStation 2. I did not end up having a lot of problems with my PS2. My original Xbox, yes. There was many a red ring of death. Okay. He's looking sexier by the moment. Just adding a little bit of a imperfect red highlight to our weapon here. Move him. Bad mouthing PlayStation's our ways. Yes, currently we have a Switch and my Xbox. My wife this last year discovered cozy games, so she discovered like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. She got hooked immediately. She's having a wonderful time. I realize the darker or the deeper parts of his blue armor are still actually full of wash, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry a little bit more. Alright, let's see how well I can do this Nuka Cola thing. And unfortunately I have to do this off camera because there's no way I could conceivably. Nope, that one I've blundered up. It's okay. I got one side done. Nuka Cola. Yeah, it doesn't really show up well on the screen there. It's done. It's gotta wait for the other side. In the meantime, I'll hit up some other details here. Shouldn't take but a second to dry. We could try again. See you later, Tom. That's a nice looking duck. Oh, thank you. Oh, let's go in for another round here. It's hard to start the N in a position where you can easily start going straight to the next letters. No. You didn't fall on any paint. And I'm just going to put a few etchings on his chest to make it look like Nuka Cola's there, but there's no actual room to write it or read it, so all he gets is a few little scripts. What do we think, chat? Is he an embarrassment or is he at least usable? I won't say that it's necessarily easily readable, but as I hold him further away, like I would see him on the table, 3 foot fabulous and whatnot, I like him more and more. Because you can tell that the script's there, and you can definitely make out the N and the C for Nuka Cola, which is really those are the biggest fonted letters in that logo, so overall I'm pretty happy. Man, I just keep dropping this guy. I need to get him away from my paints. Yeah, I'd say overall, he looks good. I wouldn't feel comfortable charging money for him, but overall, I think he looks pretty dang good. Looks great. Oh, thank you. Now, the way that I painted my blue for the vault suit is I took the standard blue we had there and I just added a little bit of aqua. You gotta say it like that too, aqua. And then the core blue that we had brings it down a smidge, and there we go as a highlight color. I'm off, Doug. Good to see you again. Absolutely, you have yourself a wonderful Sunday. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask the chat or things they'd like to discuss, please. I'm always looking for topics. Hanging out and chatting is what makes these longer hobby sessions go much faster. Who's your favorite Space Marine Legion Heresy era? Ooh. I actually do play Horus Heresy, and my favorite that I play, of course, the Sons of Horus. Because they had a point, at least in the beginning. If you don't know, I do a show called The Emperor Protects with my buddy Dan, and we basically read the Horus Heresy books so other people don't have to. just because there's so many of them. It's like, hey, spend your time on books you like, and then for everything else, get the cliff notes so you don't fall too far behind. And we really enjoy doing that, and I have to say, just the more we go through books, the more I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of with the chaos guys. I don't know if anybody else has that tendency. Most of the times, the good guys, I just don't feel are all that good. Which is a common, that's a 40K thing. It's a Games Workshop thing, but even in terms of like how they interact with one another, even when they're friends, you wouldn't generally be able to tell. As far as legions that also interest me, I also really like the word bearers. I think they just have an interesting story. I've talked about this at length, so I don't want to bore people too much, but to me, good sci-fi is when it discusses a topic, but in a way where it's like kind of removed, so we can discuss it kind of in a vacuum a little bit. And I think that they do great with that when it comes to topics of religion and belief. I think Lorgar is a great character for talking about those things, which are a bit tricky. Okay, this music's good. Where are we at? There we go. Started getting a little out of hand. Let's see. Josh, excited to see more AOS lore vids. Do you think you'll go over each named Stormhost again? Probably, although I'm a little bit... Games Workshop did less lore for the sub-factions in this book than they have ever done in any of their previous books. By a rather noticeable margin, I might add. And so, I don't know. There's not a lot to work on for some of them. This is my more extreme highlight. I'm just picking out a few specific panels. You know, I'm looking at this, right? And I painted this to the exact scheme that they use in the game. And I just think it needs a dash more yellow to break the shoulders up. So I'm gonna throw this in there. It just looks kind of flat. I mean, the scheme, not the model. The only thing with 76 and all the different paint schemes they have, which I adore, is it just really doesn't feel like each of them, they don't look the same armor type to armor type, you know? Let's grab a brighter yellow. Authors spend way more time talking about the bad guys, so they seem more interesting. Yeah, I mean, so like for example, I really enjoyed the Blood Angels book. I'm terrible at remembering their names, but basically their big story where they got sidelined in another theater. He was trying to get the angel to fall. I thoroughly enjoyed that because I feel like they addressed the deeper tensions of the loyalists, whereas in a lot of times I generally feel like sort of the deeper problems they're facing is it's always just whatever's immediately in front of them. This is the enemy and so on, whereas like I feel like a lot of the struggles that the traitor legions have much more of like a, they're more interesting to talk about in terms of like just struggles in general. I don't know how else to word that. Because they're not just fighting what's in front of them, they're also trying to manage the chaos powers and all the people stabbing them in the back and all this kind of thing. I just feel like just their internal problems are always much more dynamic, I guess. Hey, there we go. Now he's got some stuff to break him up a bit. Still just like 99% blue, but I'll take it. I might actually do one more modification. The only other place where I feel like he looks flat in particular is the back, and I want to do these little inner panels. Break up this back profile a bit more. There we go. And we'll just dabble on some of the yellow. There we go. Yeah. Speaking of word bearers, I didn't keep up with the books, but did Gilliman and Lorgar get a final showdown? Not really a final one to my knowledge. They fought on the deck of a ship during the invasion of Calth. Well, not really fought. Lorgar psychic screamed through a demon or whatever the heck he did. there was a cool moment on the bridge where they're talking to Lorgar through like a vid screen, and then they cut the feed, but Lorgar's, hologram is still there, and they're like, what the hell? I said cut it. And then all of a sudden it turns out it was actually a demon that is now on the hull of Gilliman's ship. The whole thing just explodes and chaos reigns and stuff. Oh, it's so cool. I will say the battle for Kalth is one of those stories that really got me hooked into the heresy, like in a big way. It just had the nice amount of impact. It had a campaign book. It had, novels, short stories. It's just a really well-supported campaign story. Okay, so let's review our progress for the day. We have our power armor. I'm still working on the bases. But we'll do a little recap here because I'm starting to lose my voice, and so I'm going to hop off here soon. To the left here we have our Outcast power armor boy. Let me try to get a good detail on that. So yes, of course, painted up with the Outcast power scheme, which is essentially black, but with some very, very worn red lines, as if they marked them all up and then have been using it for several months. My personal fave, the one that I use in 76, is the Moth Man scheme. Black base, purple top half, and then sort of like a black and white on the arms. He is wielding a shish kebab, which is a flaming sword. Then we have our Vault Boy, or Vault Tech rather. I made some liberties with the yellow on the backside just to break it up a bit more. But all in all, I think he turned out pretty well. I think for all of these, once I get the bases done and it's not just the bright model pulling your attention on a bland base, it'll definitely help. And then lastly, the one that I'm probably the least confident about is my Nuka Cola, mainly because I just don't like writing, but he does look sick, I will admit. So, anyway, friends, that's what I've been working on. I collected all the footage that I need to be able to get these guys finished, I feel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this whole time. Like, my goodness. Yeah. We got a ton done, and I feel very happy about that. So, I'm going to go ahead and get some... I'll finish up their bases and stuff like that, and then get final shots up on the channel. And, yeah. I don't know. Let me know what you'd like to see more of Fallout stuff. I have a whole bunch planned. And I will be getting into the nitty-gritty of the Stormcast and the Slaves to Darkness battle tomes here pretty soon as well. I'm going to take tomorrow off because it's Super Bowl Sunday, but then I'll be back at it. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to hang out with you again. We'll get more painting in later this week. And until then, see you later and happy wargaming.